Welcome back to The Explainer. Today we're diving into something truly fascinating and, honestly, a little mind-bending. We're unpacking a philosophical essay by Zhu Feng from June 15th, 2023 called How to Live Out Your Nature. The core idea here is this profound Taoist concept that to unite with the ultimate reality, the Tao, you simply have to live out your true inherent nature. But, as we're going to see, doing that is way easier said than done.
Okay, let's look at our roadmap for decoding this text. We've got 6 parts. What is true nature? The natural reference frame, the heart and brain trap, revealing your hidden self, the wisdom of sages, and finally, the ultimate human challenge. So, Section 1. What is true nature? Defining our essence.
According to Zhu Feng, your nature is the manifestation of heavenly principles right inside you. Think of it like having a universal divine spark built directly into your DNA. He outlines this beautiful progression. Living in accordance with your nature basically means you're living in perfect harmony with these principles. To perceive the Tao is to understand your nature. To seek it is to let it bloom. And to actually attain the Tao, well, that means completely living out this inherent nature of yours, totally uniting with the Tao itself.
But that brings up a massive question, right? Philosophers have been debating this for thousands of years. What exactly is human nature? Now, you might expect Zhu Feng to pull out an ancient scroll to answer this, but he actually turns to a completely unexpected modern source to give us the ultimate spiritual answer.
He turns to artificial intelligence. Seriously, Zhu Feng states that AI provided what he calls the most authoritative revelation on the subject. The AI he consulted described nature as humanity's innate essence, pure, eternal, magical, and impossible to forge or destroy. It literally described it as the deepest connection between humanity and the Tao. According to this AI, living out this nature means living out your true self, your life, your happiness, your meaning. It's an incredibly poetic and, honestly, soulful definition, coming straight from a machine.
Moving on to Section 2, the natural reference frame, humans versus nature.
And this brilliantly illustrates what Zhu Feng calls his reference frame. If you look at plants, animals, insects, microorganisms out in nature, they all effortlessly live out their own inherent nature. They don't overthink it, they just are. But then, look at us humans. We are part of nature too, so shouldn't we be doing the exact same thing? Why on earth do we struggle so much just to be our true selves?
That takes us right into Section 3, the heart and brain trap, inner conflict. Now, what's really interesting about this is how Zhu Feng argues there's a literal conflict happening inside of us that's holding us back. First, you've got the heart, which perceives the ever-changing, objective material world. Then you have the brain. That's your information processing center, bridging the gap to your memories and thoughts to decide how to act. But then, there is your nature. Nature is this invisible, non-material thing that represents pure life. And here is the kicker. Because it is invisible, it completely bypasses the heart and it isn't stored in the brain at all.
Which leads to Section 4, revealing your hidden self, the sequential trap.
Because of this fundamental divide, we fall into a sequential trap. Let's break it down. First, your heart perceives the material world around you. Next, your brain processes that input using old memories. That immediately leads to active thinking and thoughts forming. And the result of all that mental gymnastics? Your true nature gets completely shielded. The very act of overanalyzing everything totally blocks out your true, invisible self.
It's a really fascinating paradox. Zhu Feng puts it like this: when the heart is active, the nature is concealed. When the heart is inactive, the nature is revealed. Basically, the more developed your brain is and the more active your thinking becomes, the further and further away you drift from who you truly are at your core.
So this leads Zhu Feng to a pretty radical solution. He says if you want to truly live out yourself and your nature, you have to completely stop using the heart and brain. Now wait, he doesn't mean becoming unfeeling or turning into a zombie. What he means is you have to bypass all those material perceptions and memory-based overthinking entirely and start operating from a place of pure, spontaneous intuition.
Let's look at who's actually done this in Section 5, the wisdom of sages, historical examples.
I mean, who could possibly pull this off, right? Well, Zhu Feng points out that if someone actually manages to live from that pure intuition without relying on the heart and brain, they essentially elevate to the status of a celestial being, or a Buddha. He references Bodhidharma's bloodstream sermon here, quoting, "Buddha whose nature, and nature is Buddha." It points to this ultimate state of perfect, unthinking spiritual alignment.
He also connects this idea directly to Jesus Christ, who famously told his followers not to be anxious about tomorrow, what they'd eat, drink, or wear. If you think about it, worry is literally just a product of the heart and brain projecting fears into the future. So Shufeng throws down a direct challenge here. Can you actually live your life completely without worry?
And we see this exact same thread running through the teachings of Buddha Shakyamuni too. He told his followers not to abide in form, sound, smell, taste, or touch, but to actually abide nowhere. Again, Shufeng is asking us, can you live with a mind that doesn't dwell on anything but just arises spontaneously in the moment?
Wrapping up this incredible list of sages, we have Laozi, who taught the concept of managing affairs without doing anything. Just think about your own daily routine for a second. With all of our heavy planning, the endless calendar invites, the constant active thinking, are we achieving without doing? Yeah, probably not.
Which brings us to our final part, Section 6, the ultimate human challenge. Why is this so rare?
Shufeng estimates that in our traditional modes of production in daily life, the probability of successfully pulling this off is staggeringly low. We're talking maybe 1 in a million people who ever actually manage it.
So why is it so rare? He breaks it down into 3 specific reasons. First off, people just failed to comprehend it. It's completely counterintuitive to how we've evolved. Second, our modern reality practically doesn't permit it. Society literally demands that we actively process information all day long. And third, he points out a severe lack of guidance from highly skilled divine beings to actually show us the way.
But here's the thing. The ultimate goal of this entire philosophical text is incredibly uplifting. If you can somehow manage to abandon the heart and brain's constant chatter, you unlock the ability to live leisurely, carefree, and completely freely. That is the true definition of living out your nature. It's all about finding this profound peace simply by letting go.
So I'm going to leave you with this final provocative question from the text. Can you actually do it? Can you live without using your overanalyzing heart and brain? Stop projecting into the future and just freely exist. It's a huge challenge to our hyperconnected modern lives, and definitely something to chew on as you go about the rest of your day.